Hey Tony, how are you today?
I'm fine.
So I was wanting to basically get with you and just kind of speak to you about some leadership and management styles for the class today. If you don't mind, would you go ahead and just introduce yourself to everyone and kind of give a little quick background of your management experience and your industry?
Hi. Well, my name's Tony Broker. I'm the owner of Broker Engineering LLC in Mexico, Missouri. And we've been in business for about 15 years. Prior to that, I was at General Electric in Schenectady, New York as a senior steam turbine design engineer. And prior to that, held positions in different companies, chief engineer to technology manager, and going all the way back to I served in the United States Navy. Um, Rising to the rank of petty officer first class, working in the engineering department, and served 6 years and honorably discharged. And went to college out of the Navy and received my Bachelor of Science Mechanical Engineering from the University of Missouri. Um, I haven't been in a lot of management roles as far as managing people. My management roles are mainly in managing technology um, and leadership. To me, the difference in management and leadership has the big picture and the vision and the direction they want a company to go towards, and managers, usually below the leadership, make sure those are carried out in whatever way they see necessary for their individual um, responsibilities. Of if they're managing divisions, managing departments, whatever they're that's under their command is those they set up a management style that makes sure the leadership directives and direction get adhered to.
So, how would you describe your leadership style and how has it evolved throughout your career?
Well, my leadership that I currently hold is I make sure that our we use the latest and greatest technology that we have available to us, and part of leadership is making sure we have the money budgeted for it, and making sure we're um, looking at the across the board of all the different software uh, developers, and picking the ones that are best suited for our needs. And so and leadership in general for personnel is treat everybody fair, and do what you say you're going to do. And that's my leadership message, and how the people below me carry that out as far as TDs and stuff. It's up to them, but it doesn't change the fact that we still need to treat people fair and be consistent. And so that's that's really my leadership in like the technology. I gave you that about the software. That's just one more thing. I make sure that we have we get solicit emails and technology tips from a lot of different people that offer training, and they offer tech tips. And but anyway.
Can you share a time where you had to adapt your management approach to fit needs of a specific employee or team?
Well, when we work overseas, things are much different as far as safety rules and even employment um, laws, taxes. So anytime we go overseas, like down in Chile, we sit down and have a meeting to make sure that our managing of the people on site, from the TDs managing the foreman to the foreman managing the mechanics, that they adhere to the applicable laws and rules that apply there in that country, and maybe even specific to the BOBO region.
Okay. How do you balance task-oriented leadership like meeting goals, deadlines with people-oriented leadership, supporting and motivating your team?
Well, we're a small organization. This is probably have a better answer from somebody that was been a leadership or management in a larger corporation. Uh, Broker engineering, the management is like a, a step stool. I mean, it's mechanic, TD, or mechanic, foreman, TD, me. And as far as engineering team, it's me and a few engineers and draftsmen. Um, so there's, in all of ours is a customer, the deadlines and stuff are all customer generated. We have very few internal projects or stuff like that. It's all driven by specific jobs with a specific scope of work and a timeline. And we really don't do. Every once in a while, we'll get a something we feel like we need to develop our internal software, like thermodynamics. We need to fine tune it a little bit for a specific situation. um, Maybe doing a reaction turbine instead of an impulse. Then we'll go in and we'll do some uh, specific program changes in the code to accept a specific job. And that we do have timelines, but it's also based on the job. We obviously got to have all that completed before we get there. We have to do research and research on if it's a Fuji turbine. We've got to do some research on the internet and call in any favors we can, or talk to people that are familiar with it, and gather all the information, sort through it, figure out how we're going to tackle our specific problem and go through it.
You said that your teams were smaller, but managing a smaller team, you probably get to know people more one on one. How do you approach managing team members with very different personalities or working styles?
Well, fortunately, we're not in sales, so it's the different personalities. I think you're going to have that no matter how small the team is. But different personalities, the outcome still has to be, the work has to be done. But, some people need to be pampered a little bit to the main goal. And the light at the end of the tunnel is the job finished satisfactorily. And so, and get everybody there with a smiling face sometimes requires changing specific things for a certain person, um, and that, just trying to get everybody to uh, keep on the same page. And that part of the job is not fun, because anytime you change one thing for one person, the other one thinks they should get something changed for them. And so it's difficult trying to please everybody.
So, how do you recognize and work through personality conflicts within the team?
Well, I try, the right thing is the right thing. And so, first of all, you remind them that they're team members and they don't have to like each other. They just have to work together. And, I think we need to adopt more of that in the United States between, the two parties, realize that we're all Americans, and whether it's Democrat or Republican, we're all Americans, and we need to support America and what's best for America. So whatever's best for the company, and within the guidelines of the directives of treating people fairly and being consistent and focusing on the goals, whatever judgment decisions have to be made for whoever you think meets those criteria. And I never dive right in. I always make sure that they sit down and talk it out first. I don't want to be involved in it immediately, because I find that a lot of conflicts between um, two employees can usually get worked out um, if they sit down and talk about it, and they don't have to come to me to settle their disputes.
Um, how do you encourage cohesion, collaboration, knowledge sharing, and trust across like teams or departments, or even if you're working with like other vendors and things like that, with vendors that you kind of routinely work with?
Ask that again.
How do you encourage cohesion, collaboration, and knowledge sharing and trust across teams and departments? And when I say departments, I realize with broker being small, maybe some of the other vendors that you rely on and that you do business frequently with.
Right. Well, as far as information sharing, between vendors, that doesn't usually happen because a lot of the information is proprietary, or they at least think it's proprietary. And but I think when you work together in engineering on a common goal internally, then there's not a lot of things to we everything. If you work here, you have access to everything. There is no there's no uh, somebody having more information than somebody else. It's all on a database, and you can log in and use whatever you need to get the job done. So there's not a lot of that. Now, prior experiences and stuff like that, that goes back to the common goal. I don't ask people to do a data dump of everything they've done in the past and give it to me. But if it helps the end goal of getting something done and they've got something to share, then share it. And because everybody's under the gun to get the job done. So I don't, it does help that people get along well, because when they do, they tend to help each other out more.
Yeah.
The biggest driver between people not helping each other out is they don't like each other, or don't respect each other, or feel threatened. And here there's not a big chain of command, so the upward movement in the company is almost nothing. You may go from foreman or mechanic to foreman, and foreman to TD, but after that, it's just engineers above you. And if you're not a degreed engineer, there is no upward movement from field to engineering. So, and in engineering, either you're an engineer or you're not. There is no managing engineers. I mean, me being the owner is it. And so there's not a lot of upward movement, but I do see that, like when I was at GE or another place, is there's sometimes people worry about getting promoted and helping out other people. People think it makes other people look good, and they don't want to help them get promoted, which may keep them from getting a promotion. So um, there's internal things like that we don't have a problem with.
Yeah. So, Tony, I think I have time for one more question.
Okay.
Can you give an example of how you productively leverage a relationship or a network within the organization to achieve a goal?
Well, I like the fact that we have a lot of seasoned people with years and years of experience. So, in the hiring process, hiring a TD with 25 years experience is certainly a way to increases your uh, how good you are in the field, technically competent. And plus, you can't replace, you can't teach experience. And so it brings a lot to the table. And they've worked with people for so long, for so many years. And so they get along traditionally better with the more experience they have. And I think that the hiring process of getting those senior type guys is certainly a way to better yourself with some of the internal problems that you would normally have.
Mhm. Well, Tony, I appreciate your time today, and it was a pleasure speaking with you. But like I said, I think we're out of time for today, so thank you.
Okay, you have a good day, Jeremy.
You too. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.